Okay, testing the sound now. Yes. So are we good? Great. How about the visuals? Can you all see me well? Can I get thumbs up? We apologize for that little hiccup. So I'm going to start over. Thank you again for joining us here tonight. LED is hosting a town hall due to the concern about the direction of the SSD board. We feel that the community should be aware of these and know what to look out. Look at the review material before going to the meeting. So we will go ahead share that information with you to keep you all in the know. So the reason why we're here is to talk about a few talking points. Before I dive into that, I'm going to introduce myself. My name is Jay Ish. I'm the Executive Director of the Louisiana Association of the Deaf. And again, thank you for joining us tonight. The Louisiana SSD Special School District plays a critical role in the administration of the Louisiana School for the Deaf and all things related to deaf education because LSD is considered the one-stop shop for anything deafness related. Any questions, information, requests, and so forth about deaf education has only LSD as experts. And the recent governance concerns have raised alarm in our community. There are two deaf board members who were removed, Sherry Crosby, our board president at LED, as well as um, Kenny Davis, John Kenny Davis, who is an alumni for LSD, and they were both removed from the board with no clear reason why. Um, the answer that was given is that they were not confirmed by the Senate, even though the information should have been known before June 2024. No action was taken until July. We don't know why they were left out of the board, and those two members represented the deaf community were completely unaware that they were not either qualified or approved to be on the board, and that is very concerning to me because we don't have any reason why, we don't understand why the president of the SSD, which is Kristen Flynn, resigned. She was the vice president and became the interim president of the SSD board. So my question, my personal question for myself is, are they afraid of deaf people being in charge? And I don't know what the answer to that is. Number three, the reason for this town hall as well is for accountability from the state, for SSD, from the governor's office. The governor's office is responsible to appoint people on the board, and there are four empty seats that have been empty for quite some time. SSD has been having difficulties in meeting quorum and running the meeting. So that way they're unable to make decision vote or making approval. And whose fault is that? So people are pointing finger to SSD, the governor's office, or other entities, and we want to resolve that. Board members are as follow. You can see four different vacant spots. And I'm so sorry, if you're far, it might be difficult to read because it's so small, but it's from the SSD website. And you can see in red the four vacant seats. There are two deaf, Sherry Crosby and Kenny Davis, who were quickly replaced with two hearing people. One is a hearing woman who is sitting in the deaf chair representing the deaf community. Her name is Dr. Rachel Grenier, and she's a wonderful ally. We're not trying to say anything bad about her in any way. She's a great person, she's very knowledgeable. She has a PhD in deaf studies, but the point is she's in the wrong seat on the board. She can be of benefit to the board, but in many different ways, but not in that seat. That's what's concerning to us. And this is the seat right there. Dr. Rachel Grenier, representative of the deaf and hard of hearing, and picked out by LCD, Louisiana Commission for the Deaf. And the legislature said that for a deaf person to be on the board, they should ask three agencies: the Louisiana Commission for the Deaf, the Louisiana Association of the Deaf, and the Deaf Action Center of Shreveport. Those are the three organizations that can make decision, collecting a list of names to choose from for the deaf representative. And why was the LCD the only group who made that decision? We don't know. The answer has not been given to us. We don't have any facts concerning that. Next slide. Another reason why we're here is because back in March of 2018, we did a lot of advocacy for the school to have a competent leadership. And as we recall, there were a lot of movements in that seat, a lot of changes, a lot of turnaround, and somebody was picked. and there was a subcontractor from the American School for the Deaf, um, the certain school for the blind, school for the deaf, and the Carnegie School. Trying to find the information. Those are freaking Carnegie School of Special Education and the American School for the Deaf and the Perkins School for the Blind. All three of them did an assessment of both LSD, SSD, LSVI, the operation, the entire system. And that was their report. This is the first page of the report that should be read. And it says specifically that competent leadership is crucial, is the number one priority for the schools. The SSD board has tried to find somebody who can replace the superintendent roles locally, but the deaf community disagrees with that because that sort of special school district is the word special means that you have to take a special way or unique ways and special avenues and routes to try to find a person who can run the district properly. This is not somebody who can just be found locally. Next slide. Another reason we're here, of course, is to make sure that there's accountability for compliance with composition, set maintenance, term limits, and vacancies. Usually it falls by region. On the SSD board, people have different roles based on regional requirement, but it makes it really complicated, and no two members of the board can be from the same region. The superintendent or executive director who ensures administrative compliance and reporting to appointed authority, if applicable. And who is the appointing authority? Well, there are 13 seats that are appointed by the governor. Only one of them is appointed by BESI, the Board of Elementary and Secondary Education. They have the president of the BESI board, Mr. Morris, who's currently in that seat. So who's responsible for that failure at this point? We don't know. Who should have kept the two deaf people on the board, and who made sure that they were not kept without being confirmed by the Senate? We don't know. Is it the board president? Is it the superintendent? Or, I'm afraid to say, is it the governor? Whose fault does it fall on? Next slide. In 2022, after 6 or 7 years of advocacy for the school, they decided that it was best role for the school to have their own governance, their own board governing the school, own governing board. It's because the Louisiana Department of Health has a board, the BESI board that I mentioned earlier, and we've advocated there for the school many times, but oftentimes BESI didn't know how to answer, didn't have the expertise, and we didn't know the last time that they had visited the school for the deaf, or SSD for that matter, since about Hurricane Katrina. And we wanted somebody who was actively supporting the school, and BESI was not doing that. We were not providing governance. It's the only administrator that ran the school. The administrative leadership was not appropriate for the school. So in 2022, we passed legislature that finally allowed SSD to have the full governance of their board and make sure that it was people who were competent, who knew and were compassionate and knew the uniqueness of SSD, LSD, LSVI, and the SSP program. Everyone has unique needs in those schools, and the board could work independently to provide the proper services agreed to by all informed parties, and to make sure that the kids from the special school had all the special services that they needed. The role of the SSD board is to oversee critical decisions after affecting the special school, including the general school for the deaf. State officials have failed to fill critical vacant board seats in a timely manner, creating a barrier in board meeting proceedings. This has impacted the board's ability, because they can't have quorum, it impacts the board's ability to proceed, function effectively and inclusively. The deaf community has lost direct representation at a crucial time. When the superintendent left, and we need to find an interim superintendent, the deaf people were removed from the board suddenly, and now they cannot be involved in that decision, which doesn't feel right. Is this discrimination? I'll let you decide. So our concern is the lack of representation on the SSD board at this time. There's no one to currently fill the seat. And Ms. Rachel, we blessed her. She's a wonderful woman. She's a good advocate, but she's not representing deaf people. She's not deaf. Then there is opaque decision-making and lack of transparency. There's lack of clarity from the board as a whole. And it's difficult to have confidence in there. The morale is down as well. Another concern is their failure to prioritize board appointments. And it's not only SSD, there are other organizations like the Louisiana Commission for the Deaf and other state agencies who are struggling to fill certain seats. So is it the governor's office fault? Because this board is not the only one who's struggling with vacant seats that cannot be filled. Other state agencies do as well. Number five, potential violation of DEI principles like diversity, inclusion, and of course, equity and inclusion, and of course, fairly prioritize fair representation. And fair representation is very important because blind people have a representative, deaf blind people have a representative, but the blind and blind-sighted, so deaf-sided people do not have representation. Yeah, do not have representation. And then eventually, number five, a potential violation of DEI principles. But we know that DEI currently is considered we look at it differently nowadays compared to the way it was, but it still should not affect the special school district. The special school district is obviously all about DEI, right? Next. What we are asking for, we want to see immediate reinstatement or fair of deaf members. Sherry and Penny should be back on the board. And what was done to them was completely inappropriate, and they were publicly humiliated, and that's not right. It was a clear example of discrimination, of lacking of taking action in public. Next, we want a commitment from the state to fill all vacant SSD board seats. It's unfair to SSD board and to LSD and to LSVI. It's unfair to the SSP program. It's unfair to all the kids who have a board who's unable to function at this time. Three, we want to encourage the community collaboration. We know that a lot of parents out there, a lot of alumni and staff and teachers and the community members want to go to the meetings, they want to attend, but the day and time of the meeting conflicts with most people's duty. For example, the meetings in East Baton Rouge Parish, the meetings of the East Baton Rouge Parish School Board takes place in the evening, which is very nice because parents are able to attend, alumni are able to attend, and it's more inclusive and there's more engagement with the board. They're able to hear from various parents and alumni. And meetings should be changed to be set in the evening, which would be much more inclusive for the parents, alumni, and people who have to work during the daytime. It should not make it easy. It's not about making it easy for people on the board. The board serve as volunteers. They should be willing to serve with passion, not because it's an inconvenience to them. If you understand what I'm saying. And then four, we want to have regular communication and accountability from the SSD leadership. Whoever the board is, we want to have regular, bi-weekly or monthly vlogs or things that show the regular events. We want to include the community. We don't see anything at this time since Dr. Martin left. We want to see SSD step up or the board step up, whoever it is. We're asking you all, the community, to understand the severity of the situation, and we want you to understand the importance of it, because if the board was to see no involvement from the deaf community, they will feel like the deaf community is not really paying attention. They won't value our input, and they will continue proceeding without caring for us. So we have to show up. We're asking you all to take a couple, 2-3 hours of your time every month. It's not much. If you're concerned about something, go ahead and make a comment. We have a lot of staff at Make Sure who are very concerned about the direction of the board, the way it's going, but they're not here because they're afraid, obviously. If they work for LSD, so they don't want to hurt themselves, harm themselves. So we need the community to show out for them. And also for the kids, of course. If you're afraid of saying something because you work at LSD, what you can do is let your voice be heard through the LAD, through the advocacy network. Go around them and send messages. We have a lot of people who are afraid to stand up and shout their message, but try to do it loud and clear. If you can do it loud and clear, do it through us. We will speak for you. Don't be afraid. And also stay connected with LAD for any updates via email or website. We share a lot of information. We have a lot of members that join us. What's important is we want the community to stay in the know and not see these things happening without the awareness of the community. We want you all to have to be well informed. That is the point of this town hall. We want people to be informed. Bottom line, really, the SSD, the board of SSD should govern the school with common sense. We don't want to go back to the way things were before we advocated in 2015 because it took a lot of work. It was a tremendous amount of work, a lot of patience, a lot of perseverance to finally get to where we wanted to get the school in the right direction. Tremendous amount of work was done. So we want the SSD board to recognize and read the March 2018 report for the assessment of the 3 different schools. That is the key. The report is extremely important, but the board is not aware of the report because they haven't read it. A lot of them have not read it. They should read it. And I know the interim superintendent, Dr. Lewis, who's the current superintendent, was present at the school during the assessment. So she should be well aware of the recommendation because LAD made her aware before she became the interim director. And that's why we are supporting her, because she was aware of it. It's very important that people have to read the 2018 report. That's key. You know, a lot of us have political differences, and of course we're different, but when it comes to deaf children, deaf education, we should stand together. We should band together for that specific reason. We need to be our own army because nobody's coming for us. We only have ourselves to help each other. Our children and our future and our pipeline for the future deaf leaders. It's very important. There's no other pipeline. If there's no LSD, there's no other pipeline for future deaf leaders. And I don't want to live long enough to see that happen. I want to see the leadership in the deaf community continue as it has for many years. So please join us and watch us on Facebook, on our website, and make sure that you stay informed. So now, I'm going to wrap it up. I believe we're going to open the floor to anyone who wants to make a comment before we close the meeting. So feel free to come and speak up. If you want to do it in person, the mic is yours, or the floor is yours. Don't take it on.
I recall a good friend got in a wreck, and he had empathy for the deaf community and those in that community. And something changed. No longer. What was the needs of the deaf children? The hearing did not know. So to be strong, yes, keep LSD strong.
Anybody else? Kenny, since you're the LSD alumni president, you want to say a few words? I'm speaking to Kenny David right now, who's the Louisiana School for the Deaf Alumni Association board president, and I'm asking how he feels about the fact that he was pushed over by the board. I'm asking if you would like to respond to that briefly. The floor is yours, Kenny.
Hello, everyone. My name is Kenny David. I was the LSP president, alumni of the board of SSD in the past. And during that time, the meetings that I attended seemed to be, well, July, I was on the board sitting there. And then that's whenever we found out that Cheryl and I were no longer on the board. They had already filled out the paperwork to the Senate after Dr. Martin left. Harley? The legislative.
So the attorney, Karen, needs to fill out the application that had not been done in January and February. And I thought that I still had a seat on the board until the July meeting.
So that's whenever someone else was appointed. It was to my surprise, I was moved out. I was taken out. I had no idea. So that was just one thought. Thank you.
Hi,
you want to start?
my name is Eric, and I'm the caring parent of 3 deaf daughters. 2 of them are in pre-K at LSD, and the other one is 2 years old and will be attending. I wanted to kind of share some of the things that we've been seeing that are kind of worrying us as parents, specifically about the commitment that the board might have for those students. First, the girls had 2 different field trips planned, and they needed to get approval. We're not sure where they need to get approval from, but both of them were not. We don't know if they were not, or if they were just left on the floor, but we do know that that's 2 pre-K field trips that the teachers arranged, organized, had plans for, and a few days before we were ready to go, just let go. The other thing is family ASL classes. I would love to be more fluent in ASL than I am right now. And we were getting ASL classes on a weekly basis up through last year as part of the parent people engagement. Yeah, it's changed a little bit. I don't know what that acronym stands for. But this year, it hasn't been approved. We're still waiting on people. And that's really sad. We learned this year that their grandparents can also take these classes. And grandparents on both sides are excited to join and start learning ASL from them. We're waiting. We really hope that the SSC shows support for the School for the Deaf, for parents coming in and partnering with the School for the Deaf to be good parents for their deaf students. We know that the teachers are working really, really hard. It's not an easy job. And we just want to show our support to, for all the staff at LSD. Thanks.
Okay, so we have the story of deaf parents who have parents of deaf children, but they can't go to school, or some that are staff, and they're not able to, due to cuts, they're not able to have the sort of they need. So whose fault is that? The state needs to step up The school needs to get more funding for the kids and more money for the staff, more funding for resources. The Senate has the accountability to meet. There are a lot of children who are drowning or falling through the cracks of the system because the school is unable to afford to hire the right people, and the kids suffer from that. It's just not happening. The school should be open to any deaf child, period. And the state has the responsibility to make that happen. Fair and appropriate free and appropriate public education (FAPE) is for all children. Free and appropriate education for all children. That includes also special ed. That includes a school for the deaf. It's for children in those schools. It's the only place for them to thrive. I mean, from me, Jay, I'm the poster child of deaf kids growing up in a school for the deaf. I succeeded very well. I'm fluent in English and in American Sign Language. I'm not a failure. I didn't experience language deprivation. Their schools provide success, provides a chance for those children. But oftentimes they can't because they don't have the money. And who loses? The children do. So, do we have any more comments? Anyone who would like to step up? Sherry, please. Am I in the right frame? Great. Hi, everyone. My name is Sherry. I'm a former SSD board member, and just like Kenny mentioned, I attended all the meetings and never missed a meeting, just like he did. I care about the School for the Deaf and about deaf children, and about the staff there too. I always looked up things online. Always thinking, always checking whenever I was out in school, trying to find out what's going on. I found that the morale in the school has gone down and to back to where it was before, and it's very disappointing. I don't know what's going on. There's no transparency. There's fear of speaking up because they have signed a confidentiality agreement. So I don't know if it's a full confidentiality or if it's just limited. But I'm not pulling for more information because I don't want to get these individuals in trouble. But it does bother me. This school for the deaf is the only special school for the deaf in the entire state of Louisiana. We look for people to send us their kids, but now we're getting email from parents who are saying my kid was denied entry to the school, and that shocks me. That breaks my heart, and I wonder why is this happening? Why is it happening? It's really makes me very uncomfortable. So we need to take it back. We need to fight for our school, and we hope that all of you are into it. We can fight for the school and push for our children to thrive. The school must thrive. Thank you.
Hello. Miss Malcolm. 1973, 76. Graduated from LSD. The Bessie School, the sports. Graduated. It was a pleasant experience. I left. Whenever I came back, I was an assistant for the teacher. I loved my school. It was like my second home. But then I started to hear more and more things about SSD and the lack of support. And what I saw, it was roughly 6%, 60% of black students. Where's the money go? For sports? This is the special school district, yeah, it's true. But where's the money coming from to provide? Where's our share? So honestly, I understand at the same time, I don't know the system. So I'm saying, I'm here, please choose to share and be transparent to the needs of deaf ed. And for the more deaf children. So think about us, please. Support LSD. The funding, whatever it is, give us our share. Take it out of your pocket and give it to LSD. LSD, stay strong.
Thank you so much, Rosalind. for sharing your experience. She's also one of our LAD board members. Thank you so much. Anybody else? Yes, Candy? Yes, hello, my name is Candy Gaspar. I'm a former graduate of LSD and an alumni of 1998. We need to make sure that SSD is on top of hiring the right people. We don't want them to just hire hearing people. That needs to stop. We have parents who are here, and I'm really inspired by your presence here. I really applaud you, parents who came and showed up today, because it's a very hard time to stand up and make sure that we voice our opinions and we voice our concerns tonight. SSD has announced their next meeting, and it's going to be on November 12th. So are you guys going? Because I plan on going. I hope that I will see you all there. I'm going. I challenge you all to come and attend to. I challenge you to come and voice your opinion. And read the agenda. There are public comments at the end of the meeting. So stand up, voice your opinion at the end of the meeting, and make sure that they know how serious the situation is. Make sure that they understand that we care, and not only about deaf education, but about the education of blinds as well. We need to band together to make the school, it's one school, right? That's the reason why they're under SSD. SSD was developed to make sure that they can provide the best accessibility possible on that campus. We need to be proud how it is set up for blind students, deaf students, but right now, they are setting them for failure. And it's very upsetting. I have advocated for many years for my two deaf children. They're old, the oldest one is an adult now, gone to college, and I will not stop advocating because I will continue advocating for your children and your children and your children. I will continue advocating for all children, whether they go to the blind school or the school for the deaf. I will continue to make sure that I'm there for you parents as well. We are here for you all. So please make sure that we support them. Please come, reach out to Jay, reach out to the LED board, and do any kind of advocacy, assistance that you need. We are here for you to ensure that we prioritize your children's education first and ensure that the blind school and their children included as well. We are not leaving them out of this. We want to emphasize that. We are here for all of them. And the staff, we are here for you, staff member, and for you and for you. Yes, we're here for you. We're advocating for all of you. We're advocating for Kenny and for Sherry. That's why we make sure that they're here. We want them to go to the LSSD meeting on November 12th. I want to see you all there. Can y'all see me okay? Am I okay with my jacket? Everybody can see me clearly? Okay. Hi, my name is Nigel, and I'm an employee of the LSD, and also as a substitute teacher. I used to be an LED board member. I was a suspended member now, but I'm still advocating for the deaf community at large. And I see the LED involvement in the governance of the SSD board. They used to go fight at the Department of Education, but now LED has its own governance, and yet we're still seeing trouble. So I recommend that Museum Association of the Deaf give them their own charter, because the charter, like LED has one, but the deaf board itself can have their own government. We see so many of these issues right now. My suggestion is to let them have their own charter. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Nigel. Any more other comments? Oh. How can people can't go if they can't go to the meeting, the SSD meeting? How can they tell their complaints, voice their complaints? Can we email the board or show up, make up public comment if we can't go? So If you watch the live stream, you can type your comments. You can't type your comments. You can email. Yeah, email the board as a whole, right? So it's important to email the board as a whole, not just one member. We can post the email address on our website if that would be helpful. Okay, yeah. I know it is frustrating. It is hard to navigate this hard time that we're going through, but we want to make sure we let people know. Thank you for coming. Thank you for watching. Thank you for sharing in this town hall. We look forward to it on our YouTube channel as well. Good night.